Have you ever wondered why some men can make a woman fall deeply attached, while others, no matter how much effort they put in, barely scratch the surface? Here's the truth. Women don't get attached to constant attention or endless gifts. What pulls her in, what makes her think about you day and night, is an emotional connection she can't shake. And most men miss this completely. Think about it. You text her non-stop. You always make yourself available. You shower her with compliments, and instead of getting closer, she seems to drift further away. Frustrating, isn't it? You give more, yet she feels less. That's because emotional attachment isn't built on chasing, it's built on balance. She needs space to miss you, tension to excite her, and safety to open up. It's not about doing more. It's about doing the right things at the right moments. In this video, I'll walk you through 10 powerful secrets of male psychology and Stoic principles that make a woman emotionally tied to you fast and in a healthy way. These aren't cheap tricks. They're time-tested strategies that tap into how women truly connect. If you've ever felt like you're working too hard for too little in return, stay locked in. By the end of this, you'll understand exactly how to flip the dynamic so she invests in you, craves you, and attaches herself without you begging for it. Let's get into it. Number 1. Space makes her miss you. When it comes to emotional attachment, one of the biggest mistakes men make is thinking more presence equals more connection. They believe if they text her every hour, call her every night, and fill every empty moment with attention, she'll naturally grow closer. But the truth? Constant presence suffocates desire. Emotional attachment requires space. Space gives her mind room to wander. And when her mind wanders, it wanders toward you. Think about this. Absence isn't rejection, it's fuel. It's the spark that turns ordinary moments into anticipation. It's what makes her wonder what you're doing, who you're with, and why you're not chasing her every second of the day. That curiosity plants seeds of emotional attachment. Let's put this into perspective with a real example. Imagine Michael, a 4-5-year-old man from Texas, recently divorced and getting back into dating. He meets Sarah, a 4-2-year-old woman who's also rediscovering the dating scene. At first, Michael is excited and wants to text Sarah constantly. He's afraid that if he doesn't, she might lose interest. But what happens? Sarah starts replying later and with less enthusiasm. Why? Because she doesn't have time to miss him. Every ounce of space where attraction could grow is flooded by his constant presence. Now imagine if Michael flips the script. Instead of texting Sarah every morning and night, he leaves space. He ends conversations at their peak instead of dragging them on. He lets a day pass without a message. Suddenly, Sarah starts wondering, what's he up to? Why hasn't he reached out? That wondering builds curiosity. Curiosity builds desire, and desire builds attachment. This is where Stoic wisdom fits perfectly. Epictetus said, "Freedom is the only worthy goal in life. It is won by disregarding things that lie beyond our control." You can't control whether she misses you, but you can control your own behavior, your discipline to step back, your strength to create space. By not clinging, you actually gain influence. By not forcing attention, you invite her attention. Women are wired to value what they invest in emotionally. When you step back, you create an emotional vacuum. And human psychology hates vacuums, it seeks to fill them. She fills it with thoughts of you. She replays your last words, your last look, your last touch. And those replays make you larger in her mind than if you were constantly present. Of course, space isn't about ignoring her or playing cold for the sake of it. It's about balance. If you vanish completely, she may feel rejected. If you're always there, she feels smothered. But if you create the right rhythm, give attention, then withdraw, you build a cycle of anticipation. Each reconnection feels stronger because it comes after a pause. Let's circle back to Michael and Sarah. When Michael adjusted his behavior, something changed. Sarah started initiating conversations. She suggested the next date. She leaned in more, not because he begged for her attention, but because he gave her the gift of missing him, and that gift is priceless. So, remember this, emotional attachment doesn't come from constant presence, it comes from contrast. The highs only feel high because of the lows, the warmth only feels intense because of the chill, and the closeness only feels meaningful because of the space in between. Type it below, I create space. And trust me, if you think this is powerful, what's coming next will shift the way you see connection forever. Number 2. Teasing unlocks hidden sparks. There's a reason playful teasing has been part of human attraction for centuries. When you tease a woman the right way, you're not insulting her or putting her down, you're creating a spark. You're introducing light tension that excites her emotions. And emotion, not logic, is what builds attachment. Think about how it feels when someone makes you laugh at yourself in a way that feels warm, not cruel. You suddenly feel closer to them, don't you? That's the power of teasing. It disarms her, lowers her guard, and makes her associate you with joy. Without that spark, conversations become flat, predictable, and forgettable. With teasing, they come alive. The key is balance. Too much teasing crosses into disrespect, too little, and you fade into the background. But when you find that sweet spot, when you can give her a playful nickname or exaggerate one of her quirks with a smile, you activate emotions she can't hide. She feels lighter, freer, and more connected to you. The Stoics understood this principle, even though they didn't speak about dating directly. Seneca once said, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." Teasing works because it plays with imagination. When you gently exaggerate a trait, you invite her into a playful story, and her mind runs with it. She imagines scenarios, laughs at possibilities, and bonds with you in the process. It's a safe form of emotional play, and it bypasses logic to connect directly to her feelings. Here's why it works so well. Teasing creates a roller coaster effect. You lift her up by paying attention to details about her, then you gently push back with humor. That back and forth movement creates tension, and tension is addictive. She doesn't just remember your words, she remembers how you made her feel. Now, some men hesitate to tease because they fear it will offend. But if your intention is playful, not mean-spirited, it usually has the opposite effect. It shows confidence. It signals you're not afraid to break the perfect surface of conversation and make things real. And that's deeply attractive. Here's a Stoic angle to keep in mind. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Teasing is an exercise of this strength. You don't need her approval every second. You don't crumble if she rolls her eyes. You stay calm, controlled, and confident in your intent. That composure turns teasing into a powerful tool rather than a gamble. And there's another layer. Teasing creates inside jokes. Those little phrases or nicknames that only the two of you understand become a private world. Every time you reference it, she feels that sense of exclusivity. It's a reminder that your connection is unique, that you share something no one else does. And uniqueness is the foundation of emotional attachment. So remember, teasing isn't about making fun, it's about making light. It's about sparking joy and weaving a thread of humor through your interactions. Done right, it doesn't push her away, it pulls her closer, because it awakens emotions she craves but rarely finds. Type it below, I spark joy. And if this felt powerful, wait until you see what happens when you flip the dynamic and let her chase you instead. That shift changes everything. Number 3, let her chase the vibe. One of the most overlooked truths in male psychology is this: women value what they pursue. If you're always the one chasing, always the one initiating, you're stripping her of the chance to invest. And without investment, attachment never takes root. When you step back and let her chase the vibe, You flip the script. You give her the space to lean in, to reach out, and to prove to herself that she wants you. Let's make this real with a scenario. Meet David, a 50-year-old entrepreneur in Chicago. He recently started dating again after years of focusing on his business. He meets Laura, 47, who works in marketing. David is used to being the provider, the one making the plans, carrying the conversation, and keeping the energy alive. At first, Laura enjoys it, but soon she starts pulling back. Why? Because she doesn't feel the need to invest. Everything is being handed to her. Now imagine David shifts his approach. Instead of sending the first text every morning, he waits. Instead of planning every date, he lets Laura suggest the next outing. And when they're together, he doesn't flood the space with effort. He simply brings calm confidence and enjoys the moment. What happens? Laura starts filling the gaps. She texts him first. She comes up with ideas. She seeks his attention. She's chasing the vibe he creates because he gave her the chance to. This is where psychology gets fascinating. Human beings value what they work for. If something is too easy, it loses meaning. Women are no different. When she has to invest, when she has to step forward to keep the connection alive, she feels more attached to you because she's building it with her own energy. The Stoics understood this principle in a broader sense. Epictetus taught, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." When you react to her energy with calm restraint instead of chasing, you're practicing discipline. You're signaling that your worth isn't tied to her constant validation. You know who you are, and you're willing to let her show effort too. That balance makes her respect you more. And here's the deeper layer. Letting her chase the vibe doesn't mean you play cold or manipulative. It means you create an environment worth chasing. You show up with grounded energy, interesting conversation, and self-control. Then you step back and let her take a step forward. That rhythm, give, then pause, creates a natural cycle that fuels her emotional attachment. Going back to David and Laura, the difference was night and day. When David stopped overcompensating, Laura began texting things like, "When are we seeing each other again?" Or, "I've been thinking about our last date." That's the power of letting her chase. She wasn't just responding, she was investing. And investment is the root of attachment. So remember, if you're always the one chasing, you rob her of the opportunity to desire you. But when you let her chase the vibe, you give her space to prove to herself that you're the man she wants. And that proof sticks deeper than anything you could ever say. Type it below, "I let her chase." And if you think this flips the game, just wait. The next principle reveals how rewarding her effort seals the bond tighter than anything else. Number 4. Reward her when she invests. If you want a woman to stay emotionally attached, you can't be the only one putting in effort. Real attachment comes when she invests her time, her energy, and her emotions into you. But here's the key most men miss. When she invests, you have to reward it. Without recognition, her effort feels wasted. With the right response, it doubles her attachment. Psychology makes it simple. People value what they work for. This is called the investment principle. The more she contributes, whether it's initiating plans, sharing personal feelings, or making small sacrifices, the deeper she ties her identity to you. But the loop isn't complete until you reward her. Reward creates a positive feedback cycle. It tells her, your effort matters, I see it, I appreciate it. Rewarding her doesn't mean buying gifts or making grand gestures. That can backfire because it shifts the dynamic into bribery. Instead, the most powerful rewards are emotional. A genuine smile, a thoughtful compliment, a moment of physical closeness when she takes initiative. These subtle reinforcements strengthen the bond more than any expensive dinner ever could. The Stoics understood the value of reinforcement in human behavior, even if they didn't frame it in dating terms. Marcus Aurelius wrote, Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one. When she invests, don't talk about effort, show appreciation through action. Be the man who notices, who responds, who deepens the connection by rewarding what matters most, her choice to give. Here's the balance. If you reward too much, too often, it loses its meaning. If every small gesture gets overblown praise, the value fades. But if you wait for real effort, her texting first, her planning a date, her opening up emotionally, and then respond with warmth, you build a cycle of increasing attachment. She learns that investing in you feels good, and that's exactly what keeps her coming back for more. There's also discipline here. The weak man rewards endlessly, regardless of effort, because he's desperate for approval. The strong man rewards selectively because he knows his value. He encourages effort by reinforcing what builds the relationship, not by feeding every demand. This balance makes your attention something meaningful, not something automatic. Rewarding her investment also taps into anticipation. She begins to wonder, if I put myself out there, how will he respond this time? That curiosity fuels attraction, and every time you deliver with calm confidence, she attaches herself more deeply to you. So, think of it this way. Letting her chase creates space for her to invest. Rewarding her effort closes the loop and anchors the bond. One without the other doesn't work. Together, they create a rhythm that keeps her hooked emotionally. Type it below, I reward effort. And trust me, what's coming next will shift the entire frame of your relationships. Before we move forward, here's something important. If you're serious about mastering these dynamics, not just watching a video here and there, but truly rewiring the way you show up in relationships, consider joining as a channel member today. Inside, you'll get access to exclusive content I don't share publicly. Deeper Stoic strategies, advanced psychological insights, and real-world applications that give you the edge. It's for men who are ready to step beyond the surface and take control of their connections. If that's you, hit that join button and take your growth to the next level. Number 5. Stop chasing, keep control. Chasing is one of the most common traps men fall into when they want a woman to feel attached. It's natural, you like her, you want to see her, so you keep calling, keep texting, keep trying to prove your interest. But here's the problem. The harder you chase, the faster she runs, because chasing shifts the power dynamic. It tells her, I need you more than you need me. And nothing kills emotional attachment faster than desperation. Instead of chasing, the secret is control. Control over yourself, your time, and your frame. When you hold back, you signal strength. You show her that your life is full, your energy is valuable, and your attention is something she earns, not something you throw at anyone who shows you a little affection. Take this real example. Tom is 52, recently retired from the military and adjusting to civilian life. He meets Lisa, 48, a nurse who works long shifts. Tom is excited about the connection and starts chasing. He sends multiple texts a day, asks for another date before the first one ends, and constantly seeks reassurance. At first, Lisa is flattered, but soon, she feels smothered. She starts pulling away because Tom's energy is overwhelming. Then Tom remembers advice from a mentor. Stop chasing, keep control. He takes a step back. Instead of texting 3 times a day, he waits and sends one thoughtful message in the evening. Instead of planning every date, he lets Lisa reach out when her schedule clears. He focuses on his own hobbies: golf, cooking, volunteering at a local veterans center. Suddenly, Lisa notices the difference. She's the one asking, "When are we seeing each other again?" She leans in because she feels his independence. He's no longer clinging, he's grounded. The psychology here is simple. People want what's not easily obtained. When you stop chasing, you create scarcity. Scarcity builds value. And when she sees that your attention isn't unlimited, she begins to crave it more. This doesn't mean ignoring her or playing cruel games. It means balancing your effort. You show interest, but you don't flood her with it. You express attraction, but you don't smother her. You give her room to step into the space you've created. And when she does, the attachment grows deeper because she feels like she's choosing you, not being cornered by you. The Stoics nailed this principle centuries ago. Epictetus taught, "No man is free who is not master of himself." When you chase uncontrollably, you're not a master of yourself, you're a slave to her responses. But when you pause, when you control your impulses, you reclaim freedom. That freedom radiates as confidence, and confidence is what women attach to. Tom's story isn't rare. Many men in their 40 seconds, 50 seconds, even 60 seconds discover that the moment they stop over-investing, women start investing more. Why? Because independence is magnetic. It shows you're a man with purpose, a man who chooses rather than begs. And that kind of man is unforgettable. So here's the truth. Chasing makes her feel pressured, but self-control makes her feel safe. When she sees you're not desperate, she relaxes into the connection. She trusts you more. And that trust turns into attachment. Type it below. I keep control. And if you think this was powerful, stay with me. Because the next principle reveals how creating a judgment-free space can unlock a level of intimacy most men never reach. You don't want to miss it. Number 6. Safe space. No judgment, just trust. If there's one thing that makes a woman emotionally attach faster than almost anything else, it's feeling safe to open up. Most men think attraction is all about looks, money, or charm. But the deeper truth is this. When she feels she can share her real self with you, without fear of being judged, her bond to you grows stronger than logic can explain. Women live in a world where they are constantly judged for how they look, what they say, even the choices they make in private. That judgment wears them down. So when she meets a man who simply listens, who doesn't mock her fears, dismiss her worries, or criticize her confessions, she feels something rare. She feels trust. And trust is the foundation of emotional attachment. The Stoics understood the importance of acceptance. Epictetus said, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak." That's the exact approach you need. Instead of rushing to fix, argue, or lecture, you simply hold space. You let her talk. You let her feel heard. In doing so, you communicate, "I'm strong enough to handle your truth." And that strength draws her closer. Here's what happens when you offer a safe space. She starts telling you things she doesn't tell anyone else. Childhood memories, deep fears, secret desires. Each time she shares, she invests in you emotionally. Because the more of herself she gives, the more she needs you to keep it safe. And the more she trusts you with her inner world, the harder it becomes for her to detach. But here's the catch. Most men blow it. They hear something vulnerable and immediately judge. Or they use it as leverage in arguments. Or they laugh it off because they're uncomfortable with intimacy. That's a fatal mistake. When you break trust, the attachment dissolves instantly. Instead, follow the Stoic model of composure. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." Apply that discipline when she opens up. Don't twist her words. Don't use her honesty against her. Just receive it with calm strength. That restraint shows you are not controlled by ego or impulse, you're guided by principle. And principle is what makes you unforgettable. Think about the difference between a man who interrupts with criticism and a man who simply nods and says, "I hear you." The first makes her retreat. The second makes her lean in. Over time, the man who listens becomes the man she depends on emotionally. And dependence built on safety, not control, is what cements attachment. This doesn't mean agreeing with everything. It doesn't mean hiding your perspective. It means choosing the right moment. It means letting her express herself fully before you respond. When she feels complete in her expression, your words carry more weight. because she knows you listened. So remember, attraction may bring her close, but trust keeps her there. Create a space where she can show up without fear, and she'll attach herself to you more deeply than she even realizes. Type it below. I build trust. And if you think this insight is powerful, just wait, because the next principle reveals how something as simple as a subtle touch can create a bond that words could never achieve. Number 7. Subtle touch, deep impact. A man's touch can say more than his words. Not the heavy, desperate kind that screams neediness, but the subtle touch that carries intention. When used right, it bypasses logic and speaks directly to her emotions. Women remember the way a touch made them feel long after they've forgotten what you said. That's why subtle, deliberate contact can build a stronger bond than hours of conversation. Let's make this real. Take Daniel, 42, recently divorced, sitting across from a woman named Karen, 39, on their third date. Daniel was nervous, trying not to overthink, but at one moment, as she laughed, he lightly touched her wrist while leaning in. He didn't linger. He didn't try to escalate. It was natural, brief, and confident. Karen later admitted it made her feel not just noticed, but connected. That one subtle moment told her he was present, engaged, and in control of himself. She couldn't stop replaying it later in her head. That's the power of subtle touch. When it's measured, it leaves space for her imagination to do the work. If you overdo it, constantly reaching, grabbing, or clinging, she feels suffocated. But if you hold back and allow your touches to be rare and intentional, she values each one like a spark in the dark. It becomes something she craves rather than something she resists. Psychologically, this works because women are tuned to read signals. A light touch on her hand while guiding her through a doorway, or a supportive hand on her lower back when crossing the street, sends silent messages. I notice you. I'm confident. I'm here. These gestures are small but heavy with meaning, and because they're subtle, they trigger curiosity instead of defense. Daniel and Karen's story highlights this perfectly. Daniel didn't have to force attraction with big moves. He let restraint speak for him. That restraint actually magnified his presence. Because here's the truth. When you're measured, you create tension. And tension is where desire grows. But here's the trap most men fall into. They confuse physical contact with control. They think more is better. They smother. They lean too far forward. They touch too often. The result? She feels you're trying to take rather than share. And the bond breaks. Subtle touch is not about possession, it's about awareness. It shows you know the right moment and have the patience to wait for it. That patience is powerful. It communicates discipline, and discipline is attractive because it signals strength. If you doubt this, think about your own experiences. Who made the biggest impression? The person who was always in your space, or the one whose presence was felt in rare, unforgettable moments? For women, it's the same. That one deliberate touch, backed by confidence, lingers in her memory long after the night ends. So, next time you're with a woman, don't aim to overwhelm her with physical attention. Aim for subtlety. Touch less, but let each touch carry meaning. Let it be the punctuation in your interaction, not the entire sentence. Now, here's what I want from you. Drop this in the comments. I create impact. And don't go anywhere, because while a subtle touch can leave her thinking of you long after you're gone, the next principle will show you how silence itself can make her imagination run wild in ways you've never considered. Number 8. Talk feelings, not just facts. Here's something most men miss when it comes to building a real emotional connection. They think that piling on facts, achievements, or stories of what they've done will make a woman feel closer. But facts don't move emotions, feelings do. And if you want a woman to attach to you on a deep level, you need to learn to step beyond cold information and tap into the emotional undercurrent that drives attraction. Think about the last time you shared something meaningful with someone. It wasn't the list of details that mattered, it was how those details were wrapped in emotion. If you told someone about a challenge at work, the facts alone wouldn't hook them. But when you describe the frustration you felt, the relief after you overcame it, or the pride when you delivered suddenly, they're right there with you. They're not just hearing, they're feeling. That's where bonds are created. Women are especially responsive to this. They read between the lines, they sense tone, and they connect through shared emotion. If you only give her bullet points, she'll nod politely. But if you let her feel the weight behind your words, your stress, your joy, your excitement, she'll lean in, drawn to the authenticity behind it. The Stoics understood this balance. Epictetus once said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." That reaction is emotion. And when you let her see not just the event, but the way it shaped you, you're revealing depth. You're no longer a flat surface of facts. You're a three-dimensional man with stories, scars, and lessons. That's what creates intrigue. Now, there's a catch. Talking feelings doesn't mean dumping every insecurity or becoming overly dramatic. It means letting her glimpse the layer underneath the surface. Instead of saying, "Work was busy today," you might say, "Work was a grind today, and it really tested my patience. But walking out, I felt this calm relief, like I'd actually pushed through something." Notice the difference. One version is empty. The other makes her picture the scene, feel the tension, and experience the release with you. When you communicate this way, she stops seeing you as just another man going through the motions. She sees you as someone alive, grounded, and unafraid to let her feel what you feel. That vulnerability, controlled and intentional, doesn't make you weak, it makes you unforgettable. This works in both directions too. When you focus on feelings, she feels safer to share hers. She may not open up if all you ever talk about are facts. But if you create a space where emotions are valued, she'll reveal her inner world. And when she does, that's when attachment deepens. Because now, she's not just sharing the headlines of her life with you, she's giving you access to the raw material of who she island. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." Replace thoughts with feelings in this context, and you see the point. What she feels in your presence becomes her memory of you. If she consistently feels understood, excited, and safe around you, her mind ties those emotions directly to your presence. That's not casual, that's powerful attachment. So if you've been wondering why conversations sometimes feel flat, this is the reason. You're stuck in facts. Shift to feelings, and watch how quickly the energy changes. You'll notice her eyes light up, her body lean in, and her curiosity about you expand. Because at the end of the day, women don't crave a man who recites data. They crave a man who makes them feel. Now, I'll ask you directly. Do you want to be remembered as just another guy who gave her information, or the man who left her feeling something she couldn't shake? That choice is yours. Drop this in the comments. I speak feelings. And don't move yet, because while tapping into emotion is a powerful way to bond, the next step is about giving her something even rarer, something that forces her to treasure your presence and never take it for granted. Number 9. Laughter glues her to you. There's a simple truth about human connection that too many men overlook. Laughter bonds faster than almost anything else. When a woman laughs with you, she's not just entertained, she's relaxed, she's present, and she's letting her guard down. That's why humor is such a powerful glue. It doesn't just lighten the mood, it builds emotional memories that stick. Take Mark, 42, a divorced dad from Chicago. After years of feeling like relationships were just serious negotiations, bills, schedules, responsibilities, he found himself single again, trying to connect. At first, he leaned on facts and conversation, talking about work, current events, or his fitness routine. Women listened, but something was missing. Then, one evening with Julia, 39, during a quiet dinner, he cracked a playful joke about how he nearly ruined a meal by burning pasta water. She burst out laughing, the tension vanished, and the evening shifted. That one moment of shared humor made her feel like she wasn't sitting across from just another man. She was sharing energy with someone who could make life lighter. That's the power of laughter. It's not about being a stand-up comedian. It's about authenticity. A playful tease, a witty observation, even a self-deprecating story. It all works when it comes from a grounded place. What women crave is the man who can remind them that life doesn't have to feel heavy all the time. And when she associates you with laughter, her mind will crave that feeling again and again. Psychologists have studied this for decades. Couples who laugh together consistently report higher levels of intimacy and satisfaction. Why? Because laughter triggers dopamine, the feel-good chemical. Her brain literally links your presence to pleasure. That's not just casual fun. That's rewiring attraction on a chemical level. From a Stoic perspective, humor is also a mark of wisdom. Epictetus once said, "Any person capable of angering you becomes your master." Flip that around. When you're capable of laughing instead of reacting, you remain free. A man who can find humor, even in small struggles, shows mastery over himself. That calm, playful energy is magnetic. But here's the catch. Forced jokes kill the vibe. Trying too hard to be funny often backfires. The key is presence. Notice the moment, read her energy, and let humor rise naturally. Maybe she mispronounces a menu item and you playfully mimic it with a grin. Maybe you drop your phone and call yourself Butterfingers. The goal isn't perfection, it's connection. For women in their 30 seconds, 40 seconds, and 50 seconds, laughter is even more attractive because it signals maturity with lightness. At this stage in life, they've dealt with enough stress. A man who can laugh, who can make her laugh, instantly becomes rare. He's not weighed down by bitterness. He's offering what most people forget, joy. Back to Mark and Julia. Over weeks, it wasn't just his stability that drew her closer. It was the way he could turn a grocery trip into a comedy sketch or laugh with her about traffic instead of complaining. She told him one night, "I feel like I can breathe around you." That's when he realized laughter wasn't just fun, it was intimacy. So, if you want a woman emotionally attached, don't underestimate the glue of laughter. It creates inside jokes only the two of you share. It turns ordinary moments into lasting memories. And most importantly, it makes her want more of your presence, because it feels like medicine for the soul. Now, let me ask you, do you want to be remembered as the man who weighed her down, or the one who made her feel lighter every time you were around? Write this in the comments. I bring joy. And don't even think about leaving now, because if laughter is the glue that binds her, the final piece I'll share next takes that bond and makes it unshakable. You'll regret it if you miss this. Number 10. Presence over performance. Here's the mistake so many men make when they're with women. They think they need to perform. Whether it's showing off their achievements, trying to impress with flashy gestures, or constantly proving their worth. They believe attraction is about putting on a show. But women don't bond deeply with a performance. They bond with presence. Presence means being fully there in the moment. It's not about how many stories you tell or how smooth your lines are. It's about the attention you give, the calm you project, and the grounded energy you bring into her space. When you're truly present, she feels it in her body. Her nervous system relaxes. She stops wondering if you're distracted or if your attention is elsewhere. She feels that you're with her, not just physically, but emotionally and mentally. Think about it. When was the last time someone listened to you without rushing, without interrupting, without checking their phone? It's rare. That rarity is exactly what makes presence so powerful. Most men compete in performance. Few men compete in presence. And that's why the few who master it become unforgettable. The Stoics spoke often about focus. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Give yourself entirely to the task at hand, as if it were the last thing you were doing in your life." Imagine applying that to the moment you share with her. No distractions, no rehearsed performance, just full attention. That's the kind of energy that creates emotional attachment faster than any clever line ever could. Now, here's what presence does on a deeper level. First, it signals confidence. A man who's calm enough to sit in silence, who doesn't feel pressured to fill every gap with words, communicates strength. She thinks, if he's this grounded with me, he must be grounded in his life. Second, presence invites vulnerability. When you're fully there, she feels safe opening up. She doesn't feel judged. She doesn't feel rushed. She feels seen. And once a woman feels truly seen, she's already bonded to you in a way performance can never achieve. Presence also prevents burnout. Performance is exhausting. You can only fake charm or hold up a mask for so long before cracks show. But presence doesn't drain you because it's not an act. It's simply you in the moment. That authenticity is what resonates. Of course, presence requires discipline. It's not easy to shut off distractions, put the phone away, or quiet the racing thoughts in your head. But that's exactly why it stands out. In a world addicted to noise, presence feels like oxygen. Let's widen the lens. Performance-based attraction often fizzles out because it's unsustainable. You can impress her with a big date or a flashy story, but if she doesn't feel you, it won't last. Presence-based attraction, on the other hand, deepens over time. The more she feels safe, understood, and valued in your company, the more her emotions anchor to you. That's long-term attachment, not short-term interest. You don't need to be the funniest guy in the room, the richest, or the best-looking. You need to be the one who makes her feel like the world has slowed down when she's with you. That's presence. That's what outlasts performance every time. And here's the part most men don't realize. Presence is also about self-respect. When you bring your full attention to someone, it shows that you value your time, and you've chosen to share it deliberately. That choice has weight. She knows you're not desperate for her validation. You're offering something far rarer, genuine focus. So remember this, performances fade, but presence leaves an imprint. When she recalls the moments you shared, it won't be the fancy line or the rehearsed joke that stays with her. It'll be the feeling that you were with her, fully, without distraction. That's the memory that glues her to you. Presence over performance, that's the real secret. Not every man will learn it, but the ones who do, they're the ones women never forget. So now you know the truth. Attraction isn't about tricks or over-the-top performances. It's about presence, control, and the way you make her feel when she's with you. Every part we walked through today showed you the hidden psychology that most men never see. But once you apply it, women can't help but feel drawn closer. If you found value in this video, make sure you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss tomorrow's lesson. And if you want to take things even deeper, with exclusive strategies I don't share publicly, consider joining as a channel member. You'll get access to content designed to give you the edge other men will never have. Thank you for watching. Thank you for growing with me, and I'll see you again tomorrow.